60 Minutes had a segment last night on Trump using the office of the president to exact personal vengeance on America's top law firms for hiring a lawyer that Trump does not like in the past or the present, or employing at one time in the past a lawyer who was involved in a legal action against Trump, or employed a lawyer who represented a client whose cause Trump opposed. I previously discussed this issue in two videos published about 1 month ago that I will link in the More section below. I have turned off comments in order to avoid reading comments from Trump supporters who view any criticism of those clearly authoritarian and unconstitutional actions as indicative of Trump derangement syndrome, a condition that is incurable for them and has nothing to do with the critic, and who support, of course, what Trump is doing when exercising dictatorial powers. Anyone making a fact-based criticism of Trump is dismissed as suffering from TDS, which is simply a way for Trump and his supporters to dismiss the criticism without, of course, having to provide any factual or reasoned rebuttal. In exchange for up to $100 million in protection money from each law firm, paid in free legal services to clients in causes approved by Trump as president, Trump will refrain from destroying the businesses of these law firms by taking away all security clearances, denying the firms access to all federal buildings, including federal courthouses, preventing the firm from being hired by any federal agency, preventing a federal agency from hiring any of the firm's past, present, or future lawyers, and requiring federal contractors to state whether or not the firm provides any legal representation to those contractors, with the clear implication being that the contractors would lose federal government business by hiring the firm or continuing an attorney-client relationship. There's already considerable evidence that several of those companies that do business with the government had threatened law firms with losing their business if they did not resolve the matter with Trump. One reason for these extortion efforts is to punish entire law firms when one or more of its past or present lawyers represented a client that Trump does not like, was involved in litigation against Trump, or advanced a position opposed by Trump on behalf of a client. Another reason is to silence potential critics and to prevent firms from even taking on clients whose causes are opposed by Trump and his party. How do I know that these executive orders are part of Trump's wide-ranging vendetta campaign against people who have opposed him in the past? I've read the EOs, and his intent is clearly stated in them. He specifically identifies the lawyers that he does not like, such as the one who tried the New York criminal case against him and secured a jury verdict that Trump had committed 34 felonies, or another who was employed briefly at a targeted firm in the past who was involved in the Mueller investigation. One of the firms resisting Trump's extortion efforts is the law firm of Perkins Coie, who filed a complaint in federal district court claiming that Trump's EO directed against that firm and its lawyers, past, present, and future, violated the First and Fifth Amendment due process clause and the Sixth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. A federal district court granted the law firm a summary judgment that the EO did in fact violate the First, Fifth, and Sixth Amendments to the Constitution, and granted a permanent injunction barring the enforcement of that order. That summary judgment was granted last Friday. A summary judgment ends the litigation at the trial court level and can only be granted when there is no issue of material fact and the plaintiff is entitled to a judgment as a matter of law. The no issue of material fact is normally a very high hurdle for the plaintiff to meet. If Trump appeals the summary judgment ultimately to the Supreme Court, he risks having at least two Republican justices, maybe all of them, affirming the summary judgment and issuing a blistering decision that he has blatantly, which he has, violated these fundamental constitutional rights and what could be characterized as extortion or bribery, as those crimes are defined in statutes. There are a couple more salient points that I want to make about this. I have not heard a single Republican politician criticize what Trump is doing, not even the mildest of criticisms. And consequently, all of them must be presumed to support Trump's unconstitutional and dictatorial actions. Anyone who is actually a conservative, and these people are not conservative, would find his actions to be abhorrent and contrary to the fundamental principles that are the foundation of our democracy. But their silence indicates that they have abandoned those principles.